Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the Vault. Poor people don't need trust. Appreciate you. The Vault, episode 653. Appreciate everybody. This is Trust Christian speaking, and just really excited right now. I've got a bunch of enrollees in Trustee Training. New Year's been a great year so far with the families that we're working with right now, and looking to continue to work with the families that are enrolling. We actually do have a special going on over at the Vault, so feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, Christian at trustchristian.com. So, this episode can be slightly controversial. It's obviously an attention grabber. This is for people that reach out to the Vault and they say, I don't got no money for a trust right now. So let's talk about it. Poor people don't need trust. Who's poor, Trust Christian in the Vault? People that can't afford the contract. It's that simple. Oh, I want to be in the private sector, but I don't have any money. Poor people don't need trust. Trust Christian, I'm working a job. Oh, okay. Interesting story. So they got a job. They're making 60K, 80K. Poor people don't need trust. Oh, Trust Christian, I can't believe you saying that to me. My family, we come from a place and we want to be in a better place. Don't you think we should know this information? Look, we sit on the line every day with people reaching out about trust. And then when they hear that there's a price associated with it, that's when tunes change. But in all actuality, if you're building a business, if you're going to do something great, shouldn't you be in trusteeship where you have to protect your assets, where you have to protect the intellectual property, where you have to protect copyrights, where you have to protect yourself? How do you protect the money? Well, that's why you're in trusteeship, because of asset protections. So you're in trusteeship because you want an asset. Oh, excuse me, because you have an asset to protect. Poor people don't have assets to protect, because if you have an asset to protect, you protect it every time. Now you think about this. People say all this stuff about buying a house, buying a house, buying a house. It's an asset. They got insurance on that asset, correct? Right. Your insurance for the assets is the trust. It's a form of insurance for the assets. But if you have no assets, you don't need a trust. So they reach out and they say, oh, Trust Christian in the Vault, I'm looking to start a business. You don't need a trust. Trust Christian, what you doing? Don't you think we need to be in trust before we get into business? Look, we done did this long enough. We don't have we are comfortable with saying that's not our ideal trustee. You gotta have something that you could lose. That's why you're gonna protect it. That's why you're gonna invest in a relationship. That's why you're gonna invest in the document. It's an investment. You're not spending money for a trust. Oh, Trust Christian Vault, I don't know if I could spend $3,000 for a trust. That's right. You shouldn't be spending $3,000 for a trust. You should be investing in asset protection. Should be investing in a relationship. Poor people don't need trust. Trust Christian, I want to trust Christian Vault. For what? For what? Oh man, I starting a business. So then what's the point? You have no asset to protect. That's why people get in trusteeship. We get clientele. They have $1 million. We get clientele. They have high income. They're looking to protect that. They protect it in trusteeship. But poor people don't need a trust. They just don't. They come on the line. They just want information. It's like you could almost ask, are poor people poor? And how you gonna be poor and you got all the right information? Oh, it's gonna catch up to me, Trust Christian in the Vault. Sure. Sounds great. But poor people don't need trust. That's just the facts. Trust Christian in the Vault. How does this going to help me and empower me? Well, it's going to empower you because you're going to find a benchmark that says, this is my number for asset protection. At what point do you need asset protection? That's the question. At what point do you need asset protection? When you have an asset, one. Yeah, a lot of people would say that. So we talked to a trustee the other day, and we were talking to trustee and said, well, we come from an environment where sector wise, trusteeship wise, that the mentors, once again, they would say you don't deserve to be in trust unless you have $1 million. That's the sector we come from. People that look like you tell you you need to have $1 million to implement the information. They telling you that, but it's not true. Anybody can have a trust, right? Right. Poor people don't need trust though. Poor people don't need trust. So if you associate yourself with that category of people, you don't need a trust. We have mentors tell us the benchmark. Oh, you should have $1 million before you go into trusteeship, trust, Christian in the vault. Okay. Poor people don't need trust. Because when you're in trusteeship, you're dealing with the insurance. When you're dealing with the insurance, that deals with asset protection. When you're dealing with the insurance, that is a trust contract. We're not giving legal advice or financial advice. It's a contract. The insurance is a contract. It's a private contract. So it's similar to a trust. Most people don't even know that insurance is considered a private contract. They can't tell you that in the public. They don't tell you that in the public, but the insurance is a private contract, specifically the ones that we deal with. So it's not legal advice or financial advice, specifically the ones that we deal in. It's a contract. If you know it's a contract, then you know it's private. But we know it's private because we know it's a contract. And not all contracts are private, but specifically the insurance ones are. We know that. We work with our clientele and we talk to them about that. So they can have that confidence in that. So they understand that they can lose something. They got the insurance to protect an asset because they want to protect it from a loss. And when they lose it, they can replace it. Trusteeship, same thing. You're in trusteeship, so no one can steal assets from you personally because you're in a private contract now. See, you were in a public contract with the public, the social. Think about how many people are in love with the social. They coming from a poor people mentality. Trust Christian, you trust Christian involved. You the one that's the business owner. The rest of us, or the ones that reach out sometimes. I just gotta build a. What they say? They'll say things like, "Oh, trust Christian involved. You know, it sounds easy for you, for us. You know, I'm just getting into this." Well, you gotta study. Well, you gotta invest in relationships. Well, you gotta invest in information. Then what happens when you come to realization, dang man, I need some money to make some money. You know, I need to have money to put in a trust. That's the question. Oh, trust Christian in the vault. I need a trust. How do you need a trust you don't have no money to put in it? This is real conversation. Oh, trust Christian in the vault. I don't have any money. Well, then why do you need to be in trust? Because I want to know about it. Because I know I'm great. That's true. Yeah, I know I'm great. I was built for greatness. The money got to catch up. Oh, so let's break that down and talk about it. So your family, the family in general, comes to someone like you and they say, okay, you have skills, you have talents, you have abilities, but we're going to pay for you to be in trusteeship. That means we pay for you to get an education or we pay for you to get into the structure. That's what Trust Christian's family did. That's what happens. You get a sponsor, quote unquote. Ain't that what they do in business deals? Get a sponsor, get a JV. Somebody that says, you know what? They don't feel bad for you, but they have a level of caring and compassion. They trust Christian in the vault. Why are you going to do the episode if poor people don't need a trust? Because we letting y'all know. If you really knew what you needed to know, You need the trust, not poor people. Poor people don't need trust. But if you know deep down inside, I am going to pass along an asset and I don't want it to go through probate. I don't want to give a probate attorney 15% of my family, of my wealth that you already was taxed on in your life. Let's talk about it. Oh, Trust Christian about the lawyer. They told the accountant they told me to get a will. I put a will in place, but my family, they didn't get the money right away. They passed on, so they don't know that their family didn't get the money right away, but we read stories every day. Oh, Trust Christian, the lawyer played around with my money. Here we go. Let's break it down for y'all. Y'all want to talk that, right? Poor people don't need trust. Y'all want to know why poor people don't need trust? Because they're not educated. They're not going to invest. So here we go. We got a family. Family's over 10 people. Right now, it's over 10 people. Y'all don't even want to know. It's actually over 40 people that are the beneficiaries of a family trust. But because their family they did not set up the trust properly, guess what they did? They made the judge for the local area the trustee. Let's talk that. So let's talk now. Oh man, Trust Christian and Vote. We got a conflict of interest managing our family estate. That's called poor people. Why? That's called the conflict of interest. They got a judge. They got a state attorney managing their family estate. Guess what? They're not benefiting from it right now. That's why they came to the vault. Because their family estate is in shambles. It was left improperly, and now they got a conflict of interest that won't even do their job because it's a conflict of interest. Poor people don't need trust. Why? Because as soon as they got on the line with Trust Christian and Vault and we said fire the lawyer, they didn't do it. Guess what they still doing? Sitting around, wondering, maybe complaining that they think that the lawyer is doing them wrong. The lawyer's the judge. We made them aware it's a conflict of interest. Move on. Not tomorrow. Today. You think they're going to do that? Y'all think they did that? Come on now, ladies and gentlemen. How could we move on from the conflict of interest lawyer after Trust Christian made us aware of that for free? But the lawyer's charging us. We're going to go with the guy that's charging us because, we like paying people for nothing. Poor people mentality. We like free lunch. Poor people mentality. Poor people don't need trust. These people are sitting on an asset. See, they're mentally poor, not physically. They're mentally poor. They don't know that if you have land, you have an asset, we can borrow against it and we can fire anybody that doesn't do their job. But because there's so many poor mentalities at the table, we don't know what our power is. We don't know what our responsibility is to each other. These people are playing with their grandchildren's and their nieces and nephews' money because of their ego and their ignorance. But then once you start getting the information, what's the line? Y'all know the line. When you know better, you do better. Trust Christian in the vault. That's not true. We just made them aware. They actually made us aware that the lawyer and the judge is the same person for their case that's actually doing a disposition of land. Y'all could sit here and listen to the vault every single day. Don't think this is the first horror story. It's one of many. And it happens every day. Trust Christian for real. Look, y'all could say that, okay, they're in some remote area of the United, not going to make negative about the United States. It's just they're in the United States, whatever. Oh, Trust Christian, they're in the United States in the middle of nowhere. That usually doesn't happen in bigger cities, but it can. It's happening in a smaller city because who's going to find out? Who are these poor people going to do report to? They don't know how to do the report because if they did, they would have fired this person. They're the judge and the lawyer. It's called the conflict of interest. No, Trust Christian, we're in the middle. We're in the sticks. We can't find someone else to do it. Oh. So do you think that's because of money? Or you think that's because lack of competency in your state? And everybody's going to have a reason or an excuse. But in all actuality, it's cost. It's money. It's money. You don't want to explore options. Money gives us options, so we will have more options to dispose of our land to make sure that we're getting what we need to get, making sure our grandchildren are getting what they need to get, making sure our nieces and nephews are getting what they're supposed to get. There's over 40 people in this trust. 40. Some of them are active, some of them are not. We didn't agree on anything yet, Trust Christian and Vault, so we're stuck. We've been waiting in probate for over 5 years. No, that doesn't happen. Yes, it does. Your family has left you an estate. Your family has left you an asset. And guess what? Who stands between that? A document, an attorney. Because people didn't do the prerequisite study, homework, research, and development. So they came to the vote. Said, all right, Trust Christian, we need to get this squared away. What can we do? First thing we need to do is fire the lawyer because that's just the way it is. We also need to find competent counsel in the local area. Simple as that. We got to find local talent. We got to find competency in the state. If this gets ugly, we could take it to a state attorney general. These people don't even understand how powerful they are. There's no way you're going to have land and we're not going to go to the attorney general. I didn't know that. I didn't know I could do that, Trust Christian in the vault. Yeah, because you got to invest in the information. Otherwise, poor people don't need trust. That's what you're doing. You're investing in how to protect your assets. You're investing in that when you enroll in Trustee Training. So if you want to enroll in Trustee Training with Trust Christian in the Vault, consultations, Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. We got to give it to people straight up. We sit in the rooms with the families. So we don't need to be the friendlies because we're not their friends. We're their consultants, their consigliers. We care about their family estate. We're not here to savage it and take tons of capital out of it. If you're here for generational wealth and passing along wealth from one generation to the next, listen to this. The vault does not take more than 2% of the net worth of the estate. When you go to an attorney, go ask them, how much are they going to take out of the estate for the will? How much are fees for the will? They equal more than 2%. They equal more than 5% traditionally. Poor people don't need trust because you got to be able to afford the lawyer and the will and probate. Poor people don't need trust. So who needs it? The ones that have something to lose. Trust Christian in the Vote, I've been wanting that information for so long, but I don't think I should have to pay for the information. Are you going to pay for a trust? Yeah, then you're going to pay for the information. The only difference is at the vault, we provide consultations and we provide training on docs. When people send us their doc, we break down the doc. We go over it. There are many people that reach out. They don't know who's the grantor. They don't know who's the beneficiary. They don't know why they're in an irrevocable or revocable trust. We talk about that. We go over that on the consultations. It's that simple. Christian at trustchristian.com. Poor people don't need trust. Really, Trust Christian Vault? We used to be a fan of people protecting assets at the vault. We used to be a fan of people knowing their options. Trust is just an option, like a LLC or a C corp. There are public trusts, just like there are private trusts. So, what difference does it make? What difference does it make? And so, we appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. But if you're gonna reach out to the vote and say you don't have any money, then you poor people don't need a trust. You gotta have money. Are we saying you gotta have tens of thousands, millions, whatever? No, we're not saying that. But how are you gonna get into a vehicle and you don't have a car? I mean, you don't have no cash. People done reached out to the vote. Oh, Trust Christian, can I start a trust with a promissory note? So when you bought groceries the other day, if you bought groceries, Did you use Federal Reserve notes or a promissory note? Well, the dollar's like a promissory note. But hold on. Did you use that to pay for the groceries? No. Then no, the vault does not accept promissory notes. That's really simple. Promissory notes are in certain environments because they are a conditional condition to pay. So that's not how the vaults operate. Uh, if you want to move in that capacity, there go find organizations that do that. How you gonna start a trust with a promissory note? That's poor people mentality. Poor people don't need a trust because they want to start a trust with a promissory note. A promissory note, trust Christian involved? You trying to start a trust with a promissory note? We got trustees that come to us talking about they gonna issue a security but not gonna get it validated by a securities agent or have a securities agent look over it. What you talking about? Poor people mentality. Poor people don't need a trust because they get into trust and they think things are going to be free. What is free? The trust contract? Knowing how to operate it? What about finding good lawyers, good accountants? They come to us all the time. Trust Christian, the biggest concern I have is I don't want to mess up the accountant. I got to find a good lawyer. I got to find a good bookkeeper. You think that's going to be cheap? And you think about it. LLC, C Corp, regular base model entities, right? Right. You think that's going to be cheap? Because the base models, whatever they're charging, you should expect more with trust, right? It is going to give you a greater level of asset protection, right? It is a more superior vehicle, right? So wouldn't the cost be associated higher, right? Simple as that. Poor people don't need trust because you got to be able to afford the maintenance for the vehicle, right? The lawyers, the accountants. Poor people don't need a trust because they don't have a wealth mentality. They don't have an asset based mentality. They have a liability and spending mentality. And the way that an individual can transition from poor mentally is by having a dream, having something you need to go after, which is an asset, an idea. And when you have an asset or an idea, then we flush it out and we'll make it a point to protect it if you feel it's valuable to protect. Because once you feel it's valuable to protect, what are you going to do? You're actually going to you're going to protect it. You're going to find ways to protect the asset because you know it's valuable now. Same thing with people. I have a great idea. I have a great idea. If your idea was so great, wouldn't you protect it from the beginning, not somewhere through the middle? If you know this is that thing, it's the number one thing. You know it in your heart. You have to protect it first. Why? Because you hear all the time about successful people or people that have businesses. Next thing you know, somebody stole stuff from them and they didn't even really get it off the ground, or the other person that stole it took it to the next level. Why? Because they understand, because they didn't protect it. Asset protection comes first. It actually comes before the money. Form comes before the substance. Are you in a position to be a trustee? You know how many people reach out to the vault? They don't have a, they're not, when we say in a position, if you don't know something, you got to learn it. You know how I mean? You know how many people come to the table, they truly don't want to learn. When we say learn, you got to pay for the information in the relationships. That's what it is. It's just what it is. Especially private trusteeship, where it's just private information. A lot of information is not shared over the internet. Like people literally reach out to the vault and think that they just can Google the rest of the stuff off the internet. Like if that was the case, happy searching. This information is circulated in private rooms. It's not circulated in the internet. It's just not. This information is shared through private publications, through private relationships. Simple as that. So when poor people think, oh man, how come they just don't give me the information? Even if they gave you the information, are you going to do any work? What do you need a trust for if you're not going to have any asset to protect? The one that you built or the one that you have? What do you need a trust for? I heard the information, Trust Christian Vault. That's great. Some people say, oh, I have a dream. Okay, well, we'll share this with you. When you guys come to this sector, or if you're in this sector, you all have heard this statement before. It's called, how much skin do you have in the game? How much skin do you have in the game? Well, how much money have you invested in your private education? How much money have you invested in your private education? We're going to go ahead and tell y'all. Poor people don't need a trust. Poor people are the ones that send student loans, and they going to come to the vault and they wonder why they got to pay for a private education when they got a whole education that's in the public for free, and they barely paying on the student loan, and almost wishing and praying every night for a student forgiveness program. You hear the mentality? Why would you need to be in trusteeship when you got student loans? Now, we're going to go ahead and bust this down for y'all. If you don't claim any money, trustees have come through. We about to give y'all a real situation. They get consulted. How do you claim money when you don't make any money anymore? Because you work with Trust Christian in the Vault. Oh, Trust Christian in the Vault, I'm in business. And yeah, I don't take a salary anymore. Oh, okay. So, doesn't sound like they paying student loans because they don't have a personal income anymore. That's what happens. So, oh, Trust Christian in the Vault, I've been working so hard. I just don't want to pay these student loans. This is literally what they say. People have come to the Vault and said they don't want to pay them. People come to the Vault and say they want to figure out how to not pay it right now. Trusteeship. Poor people don't need a trust. Why? It's the mentality. It's just the mentality. When you're in trust, you present and you see value. You have something to give. We know this will be a controversial episode. It's just the truth. How are you going to get something if you don't have anything to give? Now, if only they knew they have something already themselves. You're the first asset to protect in trusteeship. Your family is going to protect you in trusteeship. That's the way it works. They protect you in trusteeship. Why? Because they don't let you go out into the public and get naked. They say, hey, family estate's going to open up an entity. Go do business that way. Really? Yep. It's that simple. So it's a mindset. It's a mindset. We'll change it to broke people. It's like, what difference does it make? So broke means like, oh, I'm temporary for right now. It's like, well, temporary is that's mental again. So they know that they can make a lot of money. They know that they can generate capital. They know they have a dream inside of them. Okay. So then why would you go to trusteeship and say you have no money? Why would you go to trusteeship and not try to earn your keep or work through trusteeship and figure it out if you know it so much? If you know that it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, if you know the private sector is valuable, if you know those things, wouldn't you just figure it out? We know many people, they reach out to the vault and it's a challenge for them. Like, oh man, I just gotta, I gotta figure it out. Well, what are you figuring out? That you need a trust deal? If you're not poor or you're not broke mentality, then you have an asset to protect, correct? Then there's nothing else to think about. The only thing is, there's so many different types of trust. Which one you gonna get into? So many different types of companies out there. Who you gonna go with? Well, that's why you get a consultation from Trust Christian in the Vault, so you can find that out and isolate it. Because at the Vault, there are times where, yeah, we might tell somebody living is better in the public, and for that reason, that's that. So there are reasons why you're going to be in public trust, and there's reasons why you're going to be in private trust. But poor people don't need trust. We used to sit there with one of our mentors, thought he was being kind of mean. He'd say, "Oh man, you don't need a trust unless you have $1 million." It's like, man, you got to get to 1 million to qualify. Oh, now y'all see why it's a 1% tool. So, appreciate you for tuning in live, listen, replay. Christian at trustchristian.com. We're enrolling a select number of families right now, working with those families in specific, catering to their needs. We're actually going back to group calls with those families. We're going to do isolated trainings with private families now. Uh, Traditionally, it'll be online, and those will just be private family conversation, group conversations. So if you're listening, you're older trustee. We're going back to Sunday trustee training. If you want to do a continuing education, great. No one's going to sit online and tell Trust Christian Involved, oh, Trust Christian, I don't have $100 for a consultation every single time, $400 a month. Okay, cool. So it just lets you know about the mindset of the individual. Why? Trust Christian Involved, this is actually one of the years that we're more excited about getting back outside, being outside, networking with high level trustees, being outside, finding out new strategies, being outside, finding new, learning new lessons. It's always exciting to be back outside. Outside. So, to if families aren't looking to invest in their education financially, then you're gonna be in the same position. They're gonna be in the same position. It's just the bottom line. Like, you have to advance your information. I was talking to someone yesterday in trusteeship, and they were talking about how inflation forces you to have to grow your money. How many people got 4% raise last year? How many people got 7% raise last year, keeping up with inflation? And guess what? When you got that 4% raise last year, you're actually supposed to get another raise this year. Why? Because you got to deal with inflation this year. Right? Right? Ain't that what they telling people in the public? Right. So if they telling you got to get a raise every year, we're just going to go ahead and share this with y'all because we had a fool. That's what, oh, it is what it is. They're perfect. Love that person. God bless that person. So this person says, Trust Christian Vault, how much money do you make? Trust Christian Vault, we replied, how much did you keep? Because at the vault and trusteeship, it's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep every year. So when you do start out every year and inflation's going gangbusters up, you have an asset base to sit on. We got people sitting here talking about, Trust Christian Vault, how much money you make? Oh, how much money Trust Christian Vault make? What's your net worth in trusteeship? What's your assets under management in trusteeship? Because it's not about cash flow. Because all of us that are in business and invest, we all know that things go up and down. You could buy a business, you could sell a business. You could buy a stock, you could sell a stock. You could make money, you could lose money. Oh. So what's your measuring standard stick? Ours in the sector that we're in, private sector, it's definitely not about how much money you make. We could commend that. We care about how much you kept assets under management that year. See the mentality? Poor people don't need a trust because they don't have the mentality. You got to have the mentality of net worth. Net worth. How much you got liquid. Oh, savings? Yes, liquid. Gold, silver. We'll give stocks because stocks you can cash out usually within a day or two. Our mentors set the standard for us. Can you cash out of the asset in 24 to 48 hours? That's an emergency. The emergency response system goes off in your country. Do you have a diverse set of assets? Do you have gold? Do you have cash? Do you have water? Do you have other staples? Poor people don't need to trust because they ain't got no assets to protect. They don't have no assets under management to protect. So you know if you need a trust because you got assets under management. We get people come on the line all the time. Trust Christian Vote. I got a house. I got this asset. I got. No, we're not gonna say this asset. Trust Christian. I have houses that are under my control that me and my significant other bought. We didn't do it in trusteeship. We didn't even do it in an LLC. So they come and they say we need to protect the assets. That's what happens. You protect the asset. You know it's an asset, so you protect it. Because you know that an asset is something you could lose. So you protect it. You don't question it. You just protect it. We understand some people don't know what vehicle to use to protect it. But remember, we have people reach out to us all the time, and they didn't even buy the houses, the real estate property, in a LLC because they didn't know. So they come to the vault. We share with them how to get it properly classified, where the house is more than one can now be owned by a trust or by a LLC or C corp outside of their own personal name. And they understand traditionally when they have those type of assets that they need to protect those assets, so they protect those assets in trusteeship, and they reach out to the vault because we talk about that. Don't matter if you have two houses, might as well protect them. Poor people don't need trust because they don't have anything to protect. They don't have anything to put in trust. Poor people don't need trust because they don't trust people. When you have business, you have to trust people. You got to trust strangers. You got to trust lawyers. You got to trust account. Everybody in business is not your family. Everybody in trusteeship is not your family. Poor people don't need to trust because they don't trust people. See, wealthy people, we understand money is green. That's the universal color right now. Green. So that brings our colors together. That brings us together as a people. Oh man, I'm doing bit. You're going to do business with all types of people because you trust them. But it's hard to do business with people that you don't trust. Poor people don't trust people. So poor people don't need trust. They don't trust each other. It's a mentality. If you trust people, you're not poor. Why? Poor means you don't have. When you trust people, you have trust already. You're trustable. Are you trustworthy? Most people know they're not trustworthy. That's why they don't trust other people. They're poor. They don't have trust themselves. They know secretly they don't trust themselves. You got to trust yourself so you can trust other people. When you trust other people, you know that people cannot be trusting. So that's the risk we take. In trusteeship, we're risk managers. We're willing to take a risk. When you take a risk, you're a risk manager. Poor people don't like taking risk. That's why they're poor. They don't like taking risk. They don't know how to assess risk properly. We all grow in that process. You grow out of being poor when you learn how to assess risk better. Because scared money don't make money. So we gotta assess risk. How you gonna be in trusteeship and you're scared to take risks? That's a poor mentality. Poor people don't need a trust because in a trust you would think that you're protected. And guess what? You should make mistakes. You should make mistakes. But we don't want to lose money. But we also want to learn after we lost money a few times to not keep losing it. Assets under management. Scared money don't make money. Risk management. These are the things that we study in trusteeship and trustee training. Oh, Trust Christian, I'm having issues with my organization skills. You think poor people got good organization skills? They don't. So you got to get organization skills up to par. You have to get communication skills up to par. You think poor people got good communication skills? No. If they did, they would use it to make money to better themselves. It's a mindset. We're not talking about a group of people. We're talking about a mindset. Poor people don't need a trust because they don't have faith. For the most part, think about this. If you're going to be a first generation trustee, you have to have faith. Why? No one in your family previously has passed anything along properly. What makes you think you can do it? It has to come from the inside. You think you can do it from the inside. That's who does it. Poor people don't think they could do it. They look at this person, they look at that person, and they say, "Oh, that's not me. They don't come from where I come from. That's not me. They're not me." Instead of just saying, "You know what? Appreciate you, Most High, for giving me an example that somebody can do it. I'm all in." You gotta trust people. You gotta have good communication skills. You gotta develop communication skills. You gotta develop a lot of stuff. A lot of people gotta develop a lot of stuff. Oh man, trust Christian involved. I gotta develop. What else do they say? Oh man, here we go. Money management skills. Now this is here we go. We talk to a trustee. Y'all don't even know. We got trustees come through. Trustee says, "Oh, trust Christian. I made over $250,000 last year," and we know they did because they're a professional. They actually are a doctor. They made over $250,000 a year last year. They said, "Oh, trust Christian vote. I made over $250,000, but I don't know where it went." Oh, y'all don't even know. We got trustees. See, that's the thing. Some people just got to know what their strengths are. If you're good at generating revenue, that means you have an eye for money and lean into that. And that's why you do have money managers. That's why we do have asset managers. That's why we do have lawyers. That's why we do have accountants because you don't need to be a great asset manager. You could be a great revenue generator. That's a part of the trust. The trust needs a revenue generator. So we work with trustees and train trustees to look, develop out your team. We want to find people now, qualified people. We share with them how to find those qualified people that they can build their team around. That's really what you're doing. You don't want to cater to your strengths. Poor people try to work on everything. Poor people, oh, I want to be well-rounded. No successful person is well-rounded. Even if y'all really want to know the athletes that we talk to, and dealt with in trusteeship, look, they know their sport really, 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 really well. They're elite. But why would you be weirded out that their social skills are not up to par? Why would you be weirded out they don't have good money management skills? Oh man, and we talked to actually someone about that the other day. Oh man, the athletes, we're not athletes, we love y'all. We love y'all athletes, but there's stereotypes. So they get all this stereotype. Oh, the athletes, why do they have an agent? They have a team for a reason. Why do they have a money manager? For a reason. Here we go though. Is that athlete in trusteeship? Y'all know what time it is. Because then y'all see the athletes have a foundation. So y'all know what time it is when y'all see this. And we're not knocking the athletes. Shout out to the athletes. It could be anybody. But stereotypes say, oh, well, if I'm an athlete, I don't know business. Or if I'm a creative, I don't know business. Well, okay. Did you build a team? Did you find a money manager? Did you find somebody that has really good money management skills and interview them? Tell them your situation and say, hey, what would you do if you were in my situation? And just get a good quality third party opinion. Is that easy, trust Christian involved? It's not as easy as it sounds. Not as easy as it sounds. But it's actually doable. It's very, very doable. Some people say, oh, trust Christian involved. Can I build a trust from scratch? Can I go from zero to hero? Can I start a trust if I don't have any money? We did an episode about that. It's not about the money. It's about the mindset. So even if you started with no money, we just said some people in trust are actual revenue generators. That means they go out and they generate revenue for the trust, even though they have money in it. And it doesn't matter what money's in it. They know how to wake up and do things from scratch. If you're not a person that knows how to do that, you got to find out what role you're going to play in the trust. Can I start a trust from scratch, trust Christian Vault? Well, if you do, that just means you're doing more work. That's all. But we're not saying, oh, you shouldn't, but we just wanted to do an episode that shared with people. It's more of a mindset when trustees or people come through and they want to be in trusteeship and they say, oh, well, I don't have any money. Well, if you say that, then, or you don't have any money, then you don't need a trust. It's just simple as that. Doesn't matter what. And a lot of times people don't understand. They actually do have money because they have assets. They have assets. Y'all have assets. People reach out to us all the time. They got assets, but they don't know that the asset is representative of money. And it is representative money. And once you know that, then it's okay. Are you looking to protect that asset or sell that asset? Poor people have neither. They have no asset to protect or to sell. That's how they come. That's how they talk to you. So great. Let's work with people at the vault, which we do, that have something to lose. Shout out to every trustee and individual that's ever reached out and actually went through trustee training and they invested in their family estate, their family trustee education. Simple as that. Look forward to working with you all this year. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, it's Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you all at the vault. In trusteeship, building assets, not liabilities. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Maybe you just need a consultation. That's Christian at trustchristian.com. Maybe you want to be in trusteeship. That's Christian at trustchristian.com. Maybe you want to find some resources for your family estate. Some people say, I got my contract, Trust Christian Vault. Okay, great. We're all excited for you. Do you need a consultation? Yeah, I need to work on my structure. I need to work on my organization. I need to get some more organization in here. That's what they reach out for. We always look forward to working with you all. Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to it. Hearing from you. Peace and joy.